It's been 3 months since the OnePlus 6 launched, and I've been using it as my main everyday phone, my daily driver, since then. And I wanted to share with you guys a few of my longer term thoughts, a couple of tips and tricks, and tell you why I am continuing to use this, even though I do actually have a drawer full of even more expensive phones. And that is for 4 main reasons. Firstly, and I'm sure you'll agree, it's a beautiful looking phone. OnePlus have really upped their game with a new glass body. It's got Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and back. I've had loads of people ask me what I'm using, and they all comment on how good this thing looks. I've got it in the mirror black finish, which I think gives it a really premium look and feel, so much so that I actually don't want to use a case with it because I think it might spoil the looks. Other colors are available, but personally I really do like this glossy mirror black, which I think stands out the most from previous OnePlus phones. Not everyone's going to like the notch, but it's something you quickly forget about. Plus you do have the option of hiding it in the settings if you prefer, and it does mean we get ridiculously thin bezels around this taller 6.3-inch AMOLED screen. So it looks good, but it's the little things too, like keeping the headphone jack, or the handy alert slider, which means I can quickly put it in silent mode before I go to bed at night. And if you are worried you might drop it, since it is quite a slippery phone, they've even put a case in the box. One thing I would like to see improved though is the speaker quality. You only get one speaker on the bottom here, it's not a stereo setup, and if I'm honest, it's a bit weak and tinny, so that is something I would like to see improved on the 6T. It also doesn't have any official IP rating for water resistance, which is a bit weird for a flagship phone like this. But when I first reviewed it, I did a little dunk test myself and it didn't cause any problems, and I've not had any issues since then either. So I think as long as you don't go swimming with it or take it in the shower with you, you should be fine. So the OnePlus 6 uses a Snapdragon 845 and comes with either 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, depending on which one you go for. It's also running on Android 8.1 with OnePlus's own Oxygen OS on top. I said it in my initial review, and I'm saying it again, that this is the fastest phone I've ever used. Even 3 months in, I'm not experiencing any slowdowns, lag, unresponsiveness. It is a super fast phone. That combination of the latest hardware and lightweight software means this is an absolute joy to use. It really is slick. But what makes this even nicer to use are the gestures. If you go into the settings menu and then go to the buttons option, tap navigation bar and gestures, and then enable navigation gestures. This gets rid of the Android software keys at the bottom. It gives you back that little bit of extra screen real estate, and it means everything is controlled through gestures, which is honestly one of the most underrated features of the OnePlus 6. No other Android phone, even with Android Pie, does it as well as this. So instead of tapping the back button or the recently used apps button, instead you just swipe up from the bottom to go home, or you hold it for recently used apps, and you swipe up from the left or the right side to go back. Every other phone I use now, when you see those 3 Android buttons at the bottom, just feels a bit old-fashioned. So if you are thinking about buying the OnePlus 6, I definitely recommend enabling gestures. What really surprised me though about the OnePlus 6 is the camera, the dual camera setup. It's a big step up from previous OnePlus phones. And as someone who tests a lot of smartphones, this thing goes toe-to-toe with the best flagships out there. And it's even better now since I first tested it at launch. A big camera update in July improved image quality, particularly the dynamic range of photos, so you get more detail in both brighter highlights and darker areas, along with quicker focusing, support for Google Lens, which lets you get info about the things you're looking at, and a whole host of other improvements. The camera was already very good, this update made it excellent. Now as for battery life, I found it to be fine, to be decent. I have no problem getting through a full day. I usually have around 15 to 20% left by around 11 PM at night. So while it is always nicer to wish for a bigger battery and a longer battery life, I don't really have any major complaints. I do love how fast this thing charges when you use the bundled dash charger. Other things I've noticed while using this is that I actually rarely use the rear fingerprint reader. It's really fast, easy to reach, but I just use the face unlock, which is incredibly fast. I barely see the lock screen anymore. I don't even use a fingerprint reader. I really like that. One issue I did have with the phone though was the earpiece speaker when I was on calls was really quiet for some reason. Couldn't work out why, but then at some point, an update, I'm not sure which one, seems to have fixed that. So that was annoying and I'm not sure what they did, but it's fixed. So 3 months in, the hype train has long departed the station. I'm still really impressed by the OnePlus 6. I still use it every day as my daily driver. I just think, considering the value for money, you're getting a flagship that starts from under £500. It's great value for money, and even with loads of more expensive phones available, one of the benefits of being a YouTuber and getting to test them, it speaks volumes of the phone, the fact that I do still continue to use this. It may not be everyone's favorite, but right now, it's my favorite. If I could suggest any improvements, it would be better speakers, ideally stereo speakers, an official IP rating so it's a bit less confusing, and maybe a bigger battery. If they could fit in a 3500 milliamp hour battery, that would be nice, but that's it really. And even then, I feel like I'm clutching at straws a little bit. So that's what I think, but if you have a OnePlus 6, I'd love to hear what you make of it so far, what you like about it. If you've had any problems, do let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Do hit that like and subscribe button below if you enjoyed this video and want to see more of me. And I'll see you guys next time right here on the Tech Chat.